Now, here's the thing. The truth is the truth, and some people out there have a better way of expressing it than others. And one of my favourite truth tellers is Katie Hopkins. Now, I know she's not everyone's cup of tea, but she doesn't beat around the bush, does she? She gets straight to the point. I like that. Straight talking. And that's why the left don't like the truth. It's inconvenient. It's that one weapon which they can never defend themselves from. Now, Katie Hopkins has gone after Carol Vorderman. Now, Carol Vorderman, for those of you who don't know, and if you're not old enough to remember, she started off on a programme called Countdown. And she was the lady who did all the maths and the equations and consonant please, vowel please. She got all the letters out to spell words, etc. That's what she was famous for. Then she went quiet, and then she popped up again, being famous for having a lot of plastic surgery, which is fair enough, each to their own. If you've got the money and you want to make yourself look better, what's to stop you? And then she got very political, lefty political. And it wasn't just talking points or making any cohesive arguments. She became very bitter and quite hateful, I reckon. I'm not saying this because she's on the other side of the political spectrum, but her rank hypocrisy started to show. It was quite glaring, in fact. Now, as we all know, Carol Vorderman hated the Tories, or she hates the Tories, and just before the last general election, she told everyone to vote Labour, promising like a utopia for Britain. But it hasn't turned out like that, has it? And people like her and other celebrities, they just can't understand why Labour have turned out like this, or more to the point, Keir Starmer. He's fooled them all into campaigning for him, getting him into office, and he's done this. His true colours have come out. And now, of course, Carol Vorderman has softened her support for Labour, despite what they're doing. I mean, if this was me and I was a Labour voter, I'd completely turn against them. What they have done since being in office is detrimental completely. They have not helped the British people benefit whatsoever from their governmentship. In fact, I'll tell you who's benefited. The trade unions, prisoners, Zelensky and his Ukrainian army, including the Nazi Azov battalion who fights for him. And by the way, my criticism of Zelensky and Ukraine, it doesn't make me pro-Russian. I'm not being paid by Putin or any shady Russian organisation to criticise this war, because all I want is Britain's non-involvement and to stop funding it. We've got our own problems. So anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the people who've benefited from a Labour government and asylum seekers or illegal migrants, or as Keir Starmer now calls them, irregular migrants, in order to take away that criminal element from their criminality. So no, the British people haven't benefited at all, especially the pensioners. And then you've got people like Jonathan Pye, that mouthpiece who was funny for about 5 minutes, but still this guy who tore into the Tories for any minor infringement or anything he didn't like that they did. And yet nothing from him when it comes to Starmer and what Labour are doing, which is diabolical. In fact, when it came to the taking the winter fuel allowance from pensioners, Jonathan Pye said, well, that was a curveball, which is rather generous. You know for a fact, if it was the Tories who took away the winter fuel allowance from pensioners, there would be a, 10-15 minute tirade of him pretending to be that reporter, completely slating them. And he wouldn't be saying it was a curveball at all, would he? And he wouldn't be describing it as a curveball, that's for sure. So anyway, Katie Hopkins went after Carol Vorderman, calling her Carol Vordernorks, and it's just occurred to me why she called her that. A bit slow there, Paz, but there we go. And she said in a video, and I quote, "Please explain why ceramic bobhead Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, has stolen 300 quid from the very poorest pensioners who will die this winter in order to give £11 million to despot, dictators and tyrants that run countries in Africa where it's hot." Now, I know Carol Vorderman, who, as Katie Hopkins says, and we all know, is very good at maths. She won't be able to answer this. Oh, she probably knows why, but she daren't criticise. Because Carol Vorderman is part of the problem, isn't she? In fact, there are many questions I'd like to shoot at Carol Vorderman myself, such as why has Keir Starmer allowed pensioners to freeze but is keeping asylum seekers and prisoners in warm hotels? Why have they limited the sale of arms to Israel to defend itself, and yet increased taxpayers' money to Zelensky, to defend himself, plus shoots British missiles into Russia, which is edging us closer to nuclear war. And why haven't Labour shown proof of this alleged £22 billion black hole they're on about? That's because there isn't one, I don't think. Now, I'm not a genius at maths like Carol Vorderman is, but if you have a £22 billion black hole in public finances, what you don't do is send billions of taxpayers' money abroad to other people, other organisations and other regimes, while making the poorest in this society poorer. So have a think about that, Carol Vordermort. And there we go, I'm Paz49, thanks for watching, and until the next time, Roger Trout.